5 United States lawmakers have introduced a bill proposing visa restrictions and asset freezes against former Kano State Governor Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, the Miyetti Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria, and 2 other entities over what they described as severe violations of religious freedom, including the persecution of Christians in Nigeria. The proposed legislation, known as the Nigeria Religious Freedom and Accountability Act of 2026, was sponsored by Chris Smith, Riley Moore, Brian Mast, Mario Diaz-Balart, and Bill Huizenga. If passed, the bill would require the U.S. Secretary of State to submit regular assessment to Congress on Nigeria's compliance with international religious freedom obligations and the steps taken to protect vulnerable religious communities. The lawmakers explained that the measure would also mandate the consideration of targeted sanctions, humanitarian assistance, and revised security cooperation frameworks aimed at ending impunity for perpetrators of religious violence and strengthening protections for affected populations. In supporting the bill, the sponsors cited estimates indicating that between 50,000 and 125,000 Christians were killed in Nigeria between 2009 and 2025, with more than 19,000 churches destroyed during the same period. They referenced several major attacks, including incidents in Yewata, the Christmas Eve massacres of 2023 and 2024, as well as Holy Week and Easter attacks in 2024 and 2025. According to the lawmakers, these attacks resulted in the death of more than 9,500 people, most of them Christians, and displaced over 500,000 others. They also cited Open Doors 2026 World Watch List, which reportedly shows that Nigeria accounts for 72% of Christians killed globally. The sponsors further highlighted individual cases, such as those of Rhoda Jatawu and Deborah Yakubu, noting that they were subjected to mob violence, imprisonment, or death over allegations of blasphemy, while those responsible were rarely held accountable. The lawmakers said that the U.S. President Donald Trump acted appropriately by redesignating Nigeria as a country of particular concern, arguing that the Nigerian government has historically failed to adequately prevent or respond to religiously motivated violence and has allowed a culture of impunity to persist among extremist actors. Under the proposed law, the Secretary of State would also be required to assess whether certain Fulani ethnic militias in Nigeria meet the criteria for designation as foreign terrorist organizations. In addition, the U.S. Department of State and Treasury would be expected to impose global Magnitsky sanctions on individuals or entities found responsible for severe violations of religious freedom. According to the bill, the United States should deliver humanitarian assistance co-funded by the Nigerian government through trusted civil society and faith-based organizations operating in Nigeria's Middle Belt states. The legislation also calls on the State and Treasury Departments to impose targeted sanctions, including visa bans and asset freezes on those responsible for religious freedom abuses. The entities and individuals named include Fulani ethnic nomadic militias, former Kano State Governor Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, the Miyetti Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria, and the Miyetti Kautahure. Beyond sanctions, the bill proposes expanded humanitarian support and urges collaboration with international partners such as France and the United Kingdom to promote peace and religious freedom in Nigeria. The lawmakers concluded by stating that future U.S.-Nigeria relations would depend largely on how the Nigerian government responds to the alleged atrocities. They noted that Nigeria could play a stabilizing role in the Sahel region and strengthen diplomatic ties with Washington if it takes concrete steps to combat religious persecution and protect vulnerable communities. Uche Jacinta for Eagles TV.